Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, you and me. Welcome to me. I haven't sang for you in a long time, but it's about time that I bring it back. Yes, we're talking about setting boundaries today. 'Cause I don't play, don't cross my line. I'ma do some time if you cross my lines. I don't play, no you may not. 'Cause I have boundaries and I use them a lot. Welcome to me, I'm here. I wanna do a video about boundaries today. Listen, this is, oh God, I said listen already. We're not doing that today. Welcome to me, we're gonna talk about boundaries. This is a topic that is so important, and I think people are really starting to catch on to the importance of boundaries. So what I did is took some time to do some actual research. I've kind of created a little outline that I have here of the kind of the topics I want to cover, and hopefully this will just come off as a video that's a little bit more smooth than videos in the past. A lot of times I practice what I want to say ahead of time, but a lot of YouTubers, whether you guys notice or not, they actually write scripts. It's just so you can sound professional on camera and not like you just kind of come off the top of your dome. So even though a lot of times my videos do originate from a place of in the moment, I said something's hit me in the moment and I want to share it and I go off that energy. Other times it's, especially if I'm gonna do this weekly, and what if I don't get any inspiration? Then I have to have something to talk about. So is it too dark? Y'all tell me, is it too dark? I think I'm gonna like to turn this light up a little bit. Let's see. If comment in the comments, was it better before or now? Okay, anyway, that's what our video is today. Let's get into it. So, boundaries. A lot of us have trouble setting boundaries, especially when we have to do with the people we are closest to. And some of us may have even grown up in a culture or in a family where the conversation about boundaries simply did not exist. So it's something that's completely new for a lot of people, and it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of practice, and it's hard in the beginning. But as you get used to doing it, just like anything else, just like we talked about before, you build that boundary building muscle, you get a lot better at it. And I think it's an essential part in managing your own self-care. I think that's another thing that people are talking about a lot lately is self-care, and realizing that you can do self-care and not be selfish, right? Because I like the saying, how can you pour from an empty cup? If you're not actually taking care of yourself, how can you take care of others? It's just like they tell you in the airplanes, right? Put the gas mask on yourself first, because you need to be breathing to be able to put it on your loved ones, right? This is an idea that makes sense. It is not selfish to take care of yourself, okay? So I have a quote here that I got from an article. It says, setting clear personal boundaries is the key to ensuring relationships are mutually respectful, supportive, and caring. I really like that quote because it talked about that mutual respect, right? So once again, there's this idea that the boundary setting is not meant to be selfish at all. It's so that your relationships with people are mutually or equally respectful, right? That you are supporting each other and caring for each other. That is the trick to boundaries, right? So what are boundaries? I found a very simple definition online, and you guys know I like when it's simple and easy to understand. Personal boundaries are guidelines, rules, or limits that a person creates that identifies reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for people to interact with you. And it also sets guidelines for what you do if people cross those boundaries. Very simple. Rules, guidelines, or limits that are reasonable, safe, and permissible. Now, it is key for us to realize that boundaries can be flexible. You do not want to create boundaries that are so stiff and so rigid that you start to cause problems in your life. But also, and in my research, I've read that this is one that women have a problem with. You do not want to create boundaries that are very easily flexed. A lot of times women have been taught to always be bending to the needs of others, but women are also a lot of times the primary caretaker in a lot of families. So therefore, women need to actually be prioritizing a lot of their self-care so that they can once again be pouring from that full cup instead of that empty cup. So remember not to set your boundaries too rigid, but also don't make them too flexible. Okay, for the next part of the video, I'm going to be reading from an article I found on healthline.com, and I will link For the next part of the video, I will be reading from an article I read online on healthline.com. And I'm doing it this way because I found that this particular section of this article is dead on for what I want to say in this video. So I figured I will use that as my talking points. I will link the video. I will link the article in the description below for those who want to read the entire article, because we will not be covering the entire article. But there's a couple key parts here I wanted to go over. So one of the first things they get into here is, what are your rights? According to Judith Belmont, who is a mental health author and licensed psychotherapist, it is important in setting boundaries to identify your basic human rights. So they actually have a cool chart that I'm going to throw right now, and we can go over it together. The first one here, I have a right to say no without feeling guilty. Listen, no is actually a complete sentence. You can stop right there. You do not have to give an explanation for your no. You do not have to say, I'm sorry, or explain why you're saying no. No is a complete sentence. It completely explains what the answer is. Hit them with a no. That's a tough one to learn. It's very hard to learn a no. But with practice, take it from me, you can get it. No. And stop. Okay? Second one. I have a right to be treated with respect. This will seem obvious, but sometimes I don't think we even identify the ways in which we are being disrespected. I said, think about that coworker who raised their voice at you a little bit, make you feel a bit uncomfortable. You be thinking in your head, ooh, do she think she is? That's a person who's not respecting you. Or make you feel stupid, right? Stuff like that. Those are people who are not respecting you, and you have a right to set a boundary and say, wait a minute, this is what you do not get to do. The third one here, I have a right to make my needs as important as others, right? So there's that idea coming back around to selfishness again. It is okay to have your needs met as well. So many of us grow up with this attitude that we should be putting others before ourselves. But if that's the case, and if everybody should be doing that, then there should be times where people are putting you above them as well. And it's okay for you to take your time in the spotlight. I don't know if the spotlight's a good word, but we'll go with it. Another thing they talk about here is being assertive without being aggressive. And you can use that by using I statements, right? When you use these I statements that are assertive, it says it feels firm, but people also think you're being kind. When you get aggressive, you can oftentimes threaten people, which then induces a response in them. So they have a couple of examples here. Ineffective communication. Keep your hands off my journal. Imagine you say something like, keep your hands off my journal. You can't point at my face. I don't care what. I'm going to slap your finger on my face. Be pointing at me, even if I did break the rules. See how you made me feel some kind of way? You don't do that. But effectively, you could say, I feel violated when you read my journal because I value privacy. What I need is a space that I know is private to record my thoughts. Same thing, very different tone, very different feel. Another good one here is, I feel overwhelmed when every minute of our vacation is planned. What I need is some time just to relax and see what happens. The ineffective way of saying that would be, you're making this vacation exhausting and I don't want to do all the things you've planned. Listen, I included that one because I know a person who had this exact problem not too long ago on a vacation. So hopefully you get a kick out of that one. So another thing they talk about here is safeguarding your spaces. And that is a way that you can set boundaries without having to make an announcement, without having to be assertive, without actually having to even talk to people. One way I do this, and many of you may know this, okay, but this is a boundary for me. So this is my opinion. Home should be your refuge from the world. My goal in designing my space, in Everything that I do about my home is that it is a safeguard from the rest of the world. That means I only invite into my home the things I want there. So what does that mean? That means my phone goes on Do Not Disturb automatically every day. At a certain time, after a certain time, you cannot call me with your work drama. You cannot call me with your relationship drama. In fact, I think that's crossing the boundary. Now, maybe some others don't, but hear me out here. You do not get to just dump all your stuff on me because, oh, you know how many times I heard this? Jamar, you know you my therapist. Are you paying me money? If you're not paying me no money, I'm not your therapist, sweetie. Find somebody else, especially if it's 8 o'clock at night. No, not for me. No, ma'am. Hold up. Hey, y'all. I want to jump in real quick and give a quick caveat. I'm editing this video and I realized I left out a couple points. I want to say I am not talking about a friend who is in crisis. I do believe if you have a friend in crisis, you should try your best to be there for them in whatever way you can. This is for those people who are always bothering you with their negative energy, their negative complaining about their man that they ain't never gonna leave, or their coworkers they never gonna stand up to, and they want to do it to you in a time when you need to be taking care of yourself, right? I'm not saying you don't even have to listen to the negativity, but make them call you tomorrow with the negativity if they are interrupting your self-care time, especially if it's just the same old stuff they talked about yesterday. Number 2, listen, the whole reason why I'm doing this is because I want to help people. So I don't mind being people counselors. When I said that comment, it's just because so many people say that. And I think they say that without any regard to my emotional, physical, or mental well-being. They don't ever consider if they're dumping too much on me or if this is a good time for me. So with that being said, if I have anybody who is a close friend watching this and you need to talk to me, seriously, no, you can talk to me. All right, let's get back to the video. Or maybe it's going to be from this way. One of these ways the video going to come from. I'm going to figure it out in editing. Okay, I went off into me a little bit there. Let's reel it back in. We're reeling it back. We're reeling it back to about everybody else. Hold up. Before we reel it back, I actually want to tell y'all a quick story too, another version of this. I used to work with a woman who would get into arguments with her husband and then get to work early the next day so that she could talk about it with everybody. Is she out of her mind? I just got to work. I don't want to hear your relationship drama, sweetie. I just got here. I'm trying to have a good day, and you want me to start my good day off by listening to your home drama? Are you outside of your mind? Okay, now we back. Another place where we can set boundaries is finances and money. I remember listening to a financial podcast, and I heard a story about a woman who was saying she's the most financially stable person in her family. So everybody turns to her when they need help. And she believes that you should help family. And she believes that she want to do everything she can for her family. But she was talking about how it's hard for her to get ahead when she has to continue to help everybody else out. And what that financial person told her was set a boundary on your money given out for each paycheck. You can budget that. Let's say it's $150. You got $150 you can give out. That means if Tina hits you up for 50, and then Johnny hits you up for 50, and then Teresa hits you up for 50. When Amy asks, Amy, I'm sorry, babe, I don't have any more money that I can give out, right? Because she had to set a boundary. They were telling her to set a boundary so that she could also save money for herself and her family. And in that instance, it's very clear to see how she's actually not being selfish at all. She gave Johnny, Tina, and whoever else I named some money too, right? But she set a boundary or a limit that allowed her also to prioritize her financial success as well. See it's that mutual, right? Whew, this video is going long. So I think I'm just going to wrap it up right here. I don't have enough left to make a part 2, but at the same time, I don't think we should make it any longer than this. So I'm going to wrap it up right here. Maybe I'll throw up a slide with a couple other quick things I wanted to mention, and you can read that. But I thank you for watching. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. Let me know what boundaries are you going to be setting going forward and how do you plan to implement them. If you need help with a certain one, reach out in the comments. Let me know. Let's talk about it. Like I said, like this video, share this video with anybody who you think needs it. Live life, live now with passion and purpose. I love y'all. Bye-bye.